What's up, guys? Got another quick repair vid today. So we're going to be working on 2001 to 2005 Honda Civic. What we're going to be doing today is replacing a rear wheel bearing hub assembly. Should be a really quick job. I've never changed. I've done a lot of bearing hub assemblies on cars and Hondas. I've never done a rear one on this one, but should be pretty straightforward. Let's show you the new part real quick. This is how it comes. It comes as an assembly. Alright, so a real quick way to diagnose if you got a bad wheel bearing. There's two things. So one of your more common things is a really audible roaring noise. So that can be confused with sometimes tires, wearing tires or irregular wearing tires or cheap tires can have a roaring as well. So sometimes they can get kind of confused, but in this case it's definitely a wheel bearing. Good way to check it: jack the car up off the ground, get whatever wheel you think it is, and just free spin it and see. You should get an audible kind of bearing noise in there, a roaring in there. It's not be quite as substantial as when you're going down the road, but that will give you an idea of if that is what it is, and you can compare it to the other side if you think so. Another thing is you can have play in it. Sometimes you jack it up, support the wheel, support the car, and try to top to bottom of the wheel, rock it back and forth. Sometimes a wheel bearing will have play in it like that and not make a noise. Sometimes you'll have a wheel bearing with no play that'll make a noise. Sometimes you'll have both. It really just depends on the scenario. But that's two things that some ways to tell if you got a bad wheel bearing, on top of if you got one that's loose, irregular tire wear. You know, if you notice your tires wearing uneven, you could check that. You might have a wheel bearing. Could be some other suspension parts. But anyway, today what we've got is a bearing. So the first thing we're gonna do is get the car jacked up, and it's gonna be the right rear. So we're gonna get the car jacked up and supported on a jack stand, and we'll go ahead and get started. Obvious next step is to get the wheel off, but first let's spin it and kind of see, maybe it'll pick up on here the audible roaring noise. Oh yeah, definitely can hear it there. So doesn't sound like much here, but it translates to a lot of noise inside the cabin, especially at speed. But the main thing is, you know, a safety concern. You don't want this to fail. So let's go ahead and pull the wheel off. Wheel is off, so the next step is going to be getting our center nut off. And so we'll need to, well, that's kind of weird. Usually you would put the indent here where the notch is, but they put it here. So somebody must have messed with this before, is all I can assume. So we'll go ahead and, so usually we'll try and pry that up a little bit, but we can go ahead and just knock this off. We're going to do it with an impact. So I'm just going to bend this tab up, and yes, I'm aware this is not a ball peen hammer, but this is the first one I found, so it will work. So that's good enough. So we're going to yank this off with an impact. If you don't have an impact, that's fine. You can use a breaker bar or whatever you got to do. Should be a 32mm socket, and it is. Gonna run it off real quick. Okay. Also need to, kind of forgot we need to pull our drum off. So in order to pull the drum off, obviously you have to have the parking brake released, or it's not gonna come off. taps to bust it loose. you're ever having trouble getting like if you got a stuck drum, if you notice these holes here are threaded, so you can find an appropriate size bolt, thread into those holes, and that'll apply pressure onto the hub and it'll pop your drum off. So pretty cool. And the brakes look good. We done these not long ago, but if you hadn't, this would be a good time to do your brakes. But yeah, man, you can just hear the it sounds terrible. So now you can just pull this thing on out of there. Wow, look, it literally just came apart. So that's sketchy. That is sketchy. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and slap our new one on. Just compare the two, make sure they're the same. They are. Pop our new assembly in there. Nice and quiet. Put our nut back on. So I'm gonna snug it up with the impact, and this gets torqued to, I'm gonna have to double check. It's either 132 or 134. And according to the information I have, it's 134 foot-pounds on this. So perfect. Hopefully you can see this notch right here in the castle nut. We're just gonna put an indent here, that way that there's no way possible that this nut can come loose. So that's all you gotta do. We just put a flat spot in that indentation, and now it can't rotate loose. Put our drum back on. Okay. Again, we're gonna snug it up and we'll torque it once we get it on the ground. Okay, now let's see if we can, how much quieter it is. A lot better. See, hear a little bit of brake drag, but that's normal. We'll just put, so don't have that loud bearing noise. Like I said, obviously this thing was shot, so luckily we didn't wait any longer to do that. And that is it. That is a really easy, simple, quick job. It literally took longer to get the car jacked up and supported on a jack stand than it did to actually change the part out. I probably, realistically, once I had the car jacked up, it probably took, 2 minutes to switch that hub out. So, really easy to do. It's very easy on the, as far as not being a high skill level to do it. The only really tools you had, like, I use the impact and all that, just the breaker bar is all you need. 1/2-inch breaker bar, 32 millimeter socket, like I said, a hammer, a punch, just a indent spindle nut, torque wrench, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, something really easy to do, simple. The parts are really cheap too. I'm not sure what the OEM one was. I got a good quality aftermarket one, and they run you about $50 or somewhere around there, but even cheaper than that, depending on how cheap you want to go. But anyway, that's it. Hope this helped you out. Try to keep it quick and simple, not overcomplicated. If you got anything to add to it, let me know. And any questions, let me know. And I'll see you on the next one.